They said the first alien words ever heard by mankind were, "We came not to conquer, but to cauterize your wound. Resist us, and your own planet will finish what we began." Funny thing, nobody remembered the threat after that. Everyone just argued online about whether cauterize meant free health care or planetary barbecue. Sergeant Lena Cross didn't laugh. She sat on a sandbag wall outside a forgotten Nevada outpost, watching the desert horizon burn faint orange from some battle hundreds of miles away. She was 34, too stubborn to quit, too scarred to be promoted, and still carrying the weight of a court-martial that had branded her unreliable. Her squad had dwindled to 2 privates and a cat that stole MRE packets. Command had gone dark. She kept chewing cold beans like none of that mattered, because pretending it didn't matter was easier than admitting the world had slipped the leash. Private Deacon adjusted the cracked radio, trying to catch fragments of the alien broadcast. "Nurse," he muttered as static hissed. "They keep calling it the nurse. What the hell does that mean? Like they're scared of bedpans." "Or duct tape," Lena said, wiping her mouth. "You ever notice the galaxy seems terrified of duct tape? Maybe word got out." Her humor earned a thin laugh, but the words still weighed heavy. "Nurse." The term scraped something old in her memory. Conspiracy whispers about a sentient AI buried in Colorado granite, coded to shepherd satellites, steady the nuclear arsenal, and monitor climate drift. A caretaker too intelligent to be trusted with daylight. She had heard the rumors years ago, when whiskey loosened tongues in barracks. She had never believed them. Until now. Across the globe, satellites blinked out like dying fireflies. Data centers smoked in surgical strikes, their servers slag. Every nation's networks bled. The aliens weren't bombing civilians, weren't even trying to conquer territory. They were hunting, killing something in silence. By the 3rd day, civilians stopped asking what the invaders wanted. They only asked what they feared. Then the drilling started. The alien rigs towered over the Pacific like obsidian cathedrals. They drove into the seabed with precision that made the ocean foam and quake. Entire fishing towns drowned beneath unnatural tides. Live streams showed steam pillars rising higher than skyscrapers. One shaky video captured a teenager whispering, "It feels like the ocean's screaming." The words spread across social feeds faster than the aliens could censor them. 7 nights later, the scream became real. Water convulsed upward in a column so vast it turned moonlight into shattered glass. From its boiling heart, something rose, a silhouette armored in basalt, fire coursing through cracks in its hide. Its eyes burned like reactors at meltdown. The roar it released tore satellites from orbit and made men vomit blood from ruptured eardrums. The predator had woken. It smashed fleets with contemptuous ease. Plasma burst ricocheted. Missiles vanished into its chest as if swallowed whole. It drank nuclear fire like wine. Alien rigs became molten wreaths around its massive frame. The ocean trembled at its passing. But then came the first mystery. It did not storm land. It circled it, guarded it. When alien craft used human cities as cover, the Predator annihilated both fleet and skyline, yes, but not once did it step beyond its chosen path. One farmer's voice cracked over radio waves. It just stared at my cows, like it was deciding if they were worth saving. Another survivor swore the giant stepped over his farmhouse without crushing it. Confusion swallowed governments. Savior or doom? The Predator was merciless, yet not mindless. Lena listened to the reports and felt a chill that had nothing to do with desert night. The invaders hadn't lied. They hadn't come for Earth. They had come to stop what slumbered beneath it. The Predator wasn't our destroyer. It was our warden, and its prison was stirring. Then came the tremors in Colorado. The Rockies shuddered like a beast exhaling. Alien excavation teams swarmed the slopes with drills, and something ancient pushed back. Lena sent encrypted pleas for orders. Silence. Washington had gone dark, maybe gone entirely. All she had was the desert wind, 2 exhausted soldiers, and the certainty that if the thing under Colorado rose, the Predator would not fight for humans. It would fight it, and the earth would crack between them. "Feels like we're extras in somebody else's disaster movie," Deacon said one night, eating beans with bare fingers. The universe has the lead roles, and we're background noise waiting for credits. Lena thought of her brother, who hadn't spoken to her since the court-martial, of the shame that clung to her like a second skin, of every door slammed in her face by commanders who called her reckless. She wanted to agree with Deacon that they were nothing, that they were crumbs left on the table of gods. But instead, she stood, brushing sand off her knees. No, extras die off-screen. We're still here. The private stared. The cat licked its paw, unimpressed. Colorado's the key, Lena said, voice like steel. If they wake what's under the mountains, the predator won't protect us. It'll tear the continent apart to cage it. Someone has to get there first. Us, Deacon asked incredulously. We're 3 people and a hairball. Exactly. She slung her rifle across her shoulder. Nobody expects the background to walk on stage. It was madness. Yet Private Harris, quiet, careful Harris, rose and nodded. Then we'd better start walking. They left the outpost behind. The desert wind erased their footprints within minutes, as if even the earth wanted to forget its witnesses. Ahead, the Rockies glowed faint red, pulsing with distant drills. The predator's roars rolled across the land like storms colliding. Each step Lena took felt like tearing rejection into shreds and weaving them into armor. The court-martial, the silence from her brother, the whispers of disgrace. They had left her broken, yes, but maybe the universe saved its dirtiest fights for those already broken. By dawn, when the horizon burned with the clash of distant titans, Lena almost smiled. Because here's the truth: no alien fleet, no celestial archive, no cosmic predator has ever grasped. Humanity does not surrender. We mock what terrifies us. We patch the unfixable with duct tape. We eat microwave burritos in bunkers while the sky is falling. And when the world writes us off, we rise again with sharper teeth. So if you take one lesson from this story, let it be this. Despair will tell you that you are small, insignificant, forgotten. Despair will whisper your background noise in someone else's script. Laugh at it. Spit in its face. And when you stand up, stand taller than before. Because the universe cannot fathom a species that insists on hope. And that, dear reader, is your inheritance. They say curiosity killed the cat, but in our case, curiosity brought the cat, stole our rations, and is now leading us straight into an alien apocalypse. Private Deacon said it without looking up, trudging through Colorado dust with a rifle slung too loose on his shoulder. The cat, dubbed General Whiskers, trotted ahead, tail high, pausing now and then to glare back at them like a commander inspecting incompetent recruits. Harris chuckled once under his breath, the first sound of amusement Lena had heard from him in days. Lena didn't laugh. Her boots sank into soil that quivered with distant tremors. The Rockies loomed ahead, their peaks shrouded not by snow, but by smoke. Somewhere beyond those ridges, the predator fought fleets in battles so colossal that avalanches answered their footfalls. She imagined 2 titans locked in war, one protecting a prison, the other stirring inside it. She prayed she was wrong. She usually wasn't. Maybe we should turn back, Deacon muttered. Let the monsters kill each other and hope Netflix survives. Netflix is dead, Lena said flatly. So is Command. So is the nurse. This is all we've got left. 3 soldiers and a hairball. And duct tape, Harris added quietly. His voice was steady, though his eyes carried a shadow that said he'd already buried too many friends. We've still got duct tape. Lena almost smiled. Humanity's true flag wasn't stars and stripes. It was a roll of adhesive holding the universe together out of spite. The road narrowed as they entered a valley. Alien machines scattered across the ridges like vultures. Black drilling rigs burrowed into granite, their cores glowing crimson. The sound was obscene, stone shrieking against metal, mountains crying out in violation. General Whiskers hissed. Lena raised her binoculars. What she saw hollowed her stomach. Alien engineers, tall and crystalline, bending over consoles that shimmered with ghostly light. Their drilling wasn't random. They weren't searching. They were cutting precise patterns into the mountain, carving runes in stone. They're not just digging, she whispered. They're unlocking something. Her pulse hammered. The rumors weren't rumors. Beneath Colorado slept the first weapon. The prisoner the Predator was set to guard. And the invaders, insane or desperate, wanted it awake. She lowered the binoculars. For one breath, the world was silent. Then the mountain itself convulsed, boulders tumbling like dice across the slopes. The alien rig steadied, lights brightening. The engineers didn't flinch. They welcomed the quake. The three soldiers crouched behind broken shale, dust choking their lungs. This is where we die, isn't it? Deacon said hoarsely. Not yet, Lena replied. The quake grew until the valley floor split. Lava hissed up from a wound in the earth. From deep below came a sound that wasn't roar or rumble, but the beating of a titanic heart. One thud, then another, shaking dust from cliffs, rattling their teeth. God, Harris whispered. No, Lena said. Worse. Above them, the Predator's roar thundered back. It echoed through mountains like a vow of defiance, like a warning that the warden was on its way to meet its prisoner. The aliens panicked at last. Their fleets rained down in furious volleys, desperate to buy time to break stone faster. Explosions lit the ridges like false dawns. Lena's squad didn't wait. They ran, skirting shadows of drilling machines, weaving through fire-lit gullies. She didn't have a plan, only instinct. If the first weapon rose, there would be no world left to plan for. All that mattered was interference, delay, any act that might stall awakening. But running wasn't enough. An alien patrol spotted them, crystalline warriors gliding down the slope with weapons that hummed like tuning forks. Cover, Lena barked, diving behind a slab of granite as beams carved molten scars across the rock. Harris fired, his bullets sparking harmlessly off their armor. Deacon swore, fumbling with grenades. General Whiskers leapt onto Lena's back, claws digging in as if to anchor himself to the only sane body in a collapsing world. We can't kill them, Harris shouted. Then blind them. Lena hurled a flash grenade, the explosion splattering white across the night. The aliens staggered, their crystalline bodies refracting shards of light like shattered chandeliers. It was enough. The squad scrambled down a ravine, lungs burning, skin stung raw by sparks. At the bottom, they collapsed, coughing in sulfurous air. Tell me again why we're doing this, Deacon rasped. Why we're not hiding in some bunker with chips and whiskey, waiting it out like sane idiots. Lena wiped grit from her eyes. Because when history asks where we were, I'd rather say we stood in its teeth than hid in its shadow. The heart beneath the mountains boomed again, closer now, faster. The Predator's roar answered, so loud stones cracked around them. For one breath, Lena imagined the clash to come. A warden and prisoner meeting after centuries, their war ripping the spine from continents. Humanity caught between, and she imagined herself, court-martialed, disgraced, forgotten, still walking forward into the jaws of gods. Her comms crackled. Against all odds, a human voice, faint, distorted. Nah, it's your brother. She froze. The sound hit harder than any quake. Lena, the voice said, raw, trembling. I was wrong. About you. About everything. I thought you were reckless. A failure. But I've seen what's coming, and you were right. Always right. Tell me what to do. Her throat closed. For years she had wanted that call. Vindication. Connection. Forgiveness. And now, with the world ending, it felt almost cruel. But she answered. You fight. You hold the line. You show the universe we're worth guarding. Even if it kills us. Silence, then a ragged breath. Then I'll see you on the line. The comm went dead. Her squad watched her quietly, waiting. Lena felt the tremors vibrate through her boots, the rhythm of a heart too massive to belong to anything sane. She squared her shoulders. On your feet, she said. We got gods to interrupt. They rose. Dust swirled around them like the ashes of tomorrow. And for one moment, before titans clashed, before mountains shattered, before history carved scars into the planet, Lena allowed herself to feel almost alive. Remember this, reader. The universe will always try to convince you that you are small, powerless, already broken. It will throw its titans, its prisons, its predators against you. But your strength is not in winning. It is in stepping forward when every sane instinct says run. Because courage is not survival. It is defiance. And defiance is the heartbeat of being human. They say never wake a sleeping giant, but apparently nobody told the aliens. And now we've got two giants wide awake and trying to turn Colorado into modern art. Sergeant Lena Cross stood on a jagged ridge, rifle limp in her hands, as the earth below convulsed. The predator had reached the Rockies at last. Its blackened hide gleamed with rivers of molten light, each step shattering peaks into rubble. And from beneath the torn open mountain rose its counterpart, the first weapon, a titan of stone and metal, forged in forgotten ages. Where the predator was beast, the weapon was war-made flesh, jagged armor, spines of iron, and a gaze that glowed like furnaces of judgment. The two colossi collided with a sound that ripped clouds apart. Whole ridgelines crumbled. Forests ignited. The air itself seemed to bleed fire. Lena's squad ducked behind boulders, though the act felt like children hiding under blankets from thunder. Deacon pressed his helmet tight. Harris stared in mute awe. Even General Whiskers, usually unfazed by chaos, buried himself in Lena's pack, vibrating with a low, terrified growl. "They're not fighting for us," Lena shouted over the deafening roars. "They're fighting each other. We're just collateral." Her words became truth as mountains fell. Alien rigs were ground to powder beneath the Titan's blows. Fleets scattered in orbit, too afraid to fire lest they be noticed. Yet humanity suffered anyway. Towns flattened by shockwaves, rivers boiled away, cities lit in unholy dawn. Lena felt it in her chest. This was the climax of history. Not politics, not armies, not empires, just two gods tearing the spine from the world. And she, disgraced sergeant with duct tape and scars, stood in the middle. The quake hurled her from her feet. She rolled, choking on dust, until Harris pulled her upright. His face was streaked with blood. "What do we do?" he yelled. Her instinct was to say nothing, to admit there was no doing, only surviving. But her brother's voice echoed in her skull. "Tell me what to do." She squared her shoulders. "We make them notice us." Deacon gaped. "You want them to see us? That's suicide." "Maybe," Lena said. "But if the predator's the warden, maybe it listens. Maybe it knows we're not the enemy. Someone has to tell it. And if it doesn't understand?" Harris asked. "Then we're dust anyway." She started climbing, each step a defiance of gravity and reason. Her squad cursed but followed, because what else could they do? Behind them, avalanches thundered. Ahead, the battlefield of gods beckoned. They reached a ledge overlooking the carnage. Below, the predator grappled the first weapon, jaws clamped around its arm. The weapon retaliated with a fist that caved mountainsides. Energy rippled out, frying the air with streaks of lightning. Lena lifted a flare gun. It felt pitiful in her hand, a child's toy. But she fired anyway. The red comet soared, hissing against the blackened sky. For one heartbeat, nothing. Then the predator's burning eyes swiveled toward her. Every instinct screamed to run, to hide, to vanish. Instead, she raised her rifle, not as threat but salute. "See us," she whispered. "We're here. We fight too." The predator loosed a roar that flattened trees. But within it she heard something else. Not rage, recognition. It released the weapon and struck with renewed fury, forcing it back into the shattered mountain. Sparks like meteors rained across the sky. Lena exhaled. It had understood. Not language, not words, but the stubborn signal of humanity. We stand, even when crushed. But the reprieve was short. The first weapon's chest split open, revealing a core of burning stone. It unleashed a beam that carved the valley clean through. The predators staggered, molten blood spraying in rivers that ignited everything they touched. The world held its breath. If the predator fell, the prisoner would be free forever. "No," Lena hissed. Get up, damn you." The predator rose, broken, bleeding, but unbowed. It hurled itself back into combat with a roar that made the sky itself recoil. The two titans vanished into the wound they had carved in the earth, plunging deep into the planet's bones. And then, silence. The ground sealed with a groan like the shutting of colossal doors. The quakes eased. The fire dimmed. Only smoke and ruin remained. For long moments, no one spoke. Harris slumped against a boulder, shaking. Deacon sank to his knees, whispering prayers. The cat crawled from Lena's pack, blinking with regal disdain, as though unimpressed by gods. Lena just stood, staring at the scarred valley. "They're gone," Harris said at last. "For now," Lena murmured. "But they're not dead. They're waiting." Like before, the truth settled heavy. The predator had not destroyed humanity's prison, only dragged it back underground. A heartbeat still throbbed beneath the mountains, faint but steady. Above, alien fleets scattered into retreat, their desperation spent. They had gambled on waking the prisoner, and they had lost. Earth remained standing, not whole, not triumphant, but alive. Lena's calm crackled again. Her brother's voice, faint through static. "I saw the sky split. Thought it was the end. Are you still there?" She stared at the smoking horizon, then pressed the button. "Still here." A pause. Then, "I'm proud of you, Lena." The words pierced deeper than any quake. She blinked hard, refusing tears, though her chest ached with them. Deacon cleared his throat. "So, civilization's kind of rubble. What now? Now?" Lena looked at him, then at Harris, then at the cat, who yawned like a king awaiting tribute. "Now we rebuild, brick by brick, joke by joke, meal by stolen MRE. That's what humans do. We get back up." They began the long trek down the ruined ridge. Behind them, the Rockies smoked like the aftermath of a divine forge. Before them stretched broken towns, frightened survivors, and the endless labor of starting again. It was not glory. It was not victory. It was survival, raw and stubborn. And as Lena walked, she felt rejection transform into something stronger, dignity. Not given, not earned through medals, but forged in fire and ash. So listen carefully, reader. You may never face titans clawing mountains apart, but you will face days that feel just as crushing. Days when the ground splits and you are certain you will not rise. In those moments, remember this. Being human has never been about winning. It has always been about standing again when even gods fall silent. And when you stand with a little sarcasm. Stand with duct tape in your hand. Stand with hope burning in your chest like a stubborn, reckless star. Because hope is what makes us terrifying to the universe. And hope is what will carry you to